And finally, my favorite, you have to be nice. No, I don't. And I won't be nice, and here's why. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, feel free to look it up, the word nice comes from the Middle English, meaning foolish. The Middle English word came from the Anglo-French, meaning silly or simple. The Anglo-French came from the Latin word nescius, N-E-S-C-I-U-S, which means ignorant. And the Latin root of nescius is nescire, N-E-S-C-I-R-E. Nescire is a compound Latin root. The first root is ne, N-E, which means not. The second root is cire, S-C-I-R-E, which means knowledge. This is the same root that gives us the English word science. So, nescire in Latin literally means to know nothing. Run the Latin word nescire through France up into England and let it contract and corrupt for 1,000 years or so, and you end up with the modern English word nice. For many centuries, up until the first half of the 20th century, a nice person was a foolish, ignorant, agreeable, know-nothing simpleton. Because if a person is foolish and has no knowledge, he tends to agree with anything anyone says. Is this starting to sound familiar? Is this starting to click? Enter the satanic Marxist milieu into Western civilization in the early 20th century through both the school systems and the church. Suddenly, it is being taught from the blackboard and preached from the pulpit that niceness is the single most admirable quality that a person and a society can possess. That's right. We've been taught that to be an ignorant fool that agrees with anything anyone says is the cardinal virtue. Let me say this again because this is the point of this entire YouTube video. We have been taught that to be an ignorant fool that agrees with anything anyone says is the cardinal virtue. Is it now not completely obvious to you that we have been totally set up for the fall? This leads us to the terrifying realization that our entire culture, most especially the leadership of our culture through the civic leadership in our government, the intellectual leadership through our academia and media, and the moral leadership through the church, has been completely intellectually and morally hamstrung by this false teaching of niceness. In our culture, niceness has been elevated to the cardinal virtue. As we now know, niceness is really ignorance and foolishness. So what this means is that ignorance and foolishness are now considered moral virtues, and knowledge and reason are considered vices. One need look no further than the inner city to seek confirmation of this. Anyone who utilizes facts, logical arguments, objective evidence, or, God forbid, common sense is cast as an intolerant, bigoted, hateful, and even in a sense, a subhuman person.